Films, dull. They look like they're shot in London. Tech products, obsolete in 2 years. Clothes, not only are they worse quality, but they're making you sick. And logos, they're on ozempic. The sans serification of logo design must be studied. Since this started around 2017, every single year we get a tweet complaining about the flat ironing of logo design. The take always goes something along the lines of, old good, modern bad. Where are the graphic designers?
Haven't you heard of trends? This is the digital age.
This logo looks simple but uses 1,000 circles and the gravitational power of the sun. You might have seen these images floating around about how logos are losing their character. They're not wrong. This really seems to affect nearly every corner of the earth. You might have noticed tech brands adopting a rounded, friendlier sans serif. Fashion, ironically, became bolder. Quite literally. And we saw this permeate into food, banks, cars, universities, pharmaceuticals. Johnson & Johnson said bye-bye to their signature script and hello to their new logo, fitting for the megacorp, ready to increase value to its shareholders, make medical devices, and be mired in lawsuits over their cancer-causing products. In fact, the complaint about old logos being better, new logos are really bad, why did they do this, is such a pervasive talking point that you would think they're doing some return to traditional analysis. Here's the thing, I feel like there's a more interesting discussion to be had over the aesthetic sanitization of design and its link to capitalism, economy, and culture. You know, the rich get richer and the logos get blander. But I feel like that deserves its own video. Edging that. If all these logos are homogeneous and boring, what is next? And what would these logos look like if they were just a little bit more fun? I want to disclaim that this is just casual exploration, right? And a bit of fun, right? It's mostly just an excuse for me to talk about logo design trends that I'm excited by. Okay? Let's play a game called Which B brand does this B belong to? Is it B for Balmain? B for Belru? B for Balenciaga? B for Bershka? Or B for Bugatti, the car brand? We're talking about Balenciaga. Balenciaga is a good fit for a display font. Display fonts are fonts that tend to be a bit more experimental in shape. It may not be as readable, but the point is, it's more artistic in expression. And I feel like display fonts might see an increase in adoption if brands try and differentiate. When your logo style is also used by the likes of Shein, whether you started it first or not, we have a slight problem. From a brand positioning perspective, amongst all the other fashion brands with sans serif-itis, on the scale of how much audacity do their products have and how little am I able to afford it, Balenciaga it's up there. But here's the thing, for a brand that sells beat up shoes for 1,800 and a tape bracelet for 3K, the logo is giving a bit more like Balenciaga. Am I right? Am I right? You can see in this timeline that Balenciaga actually used to have a more sophisticated look back when that was their brand direction. These have more of a focus on craftsmanship, which you can see in the stitching symbols in the logo. And as directors and creative direction change, they also started, you know, morphing a little bit. To organize my visionary masterpiece, amazing brand redesign projects, I'm using the tool Milano, who are the sponsors for this video, because it acts like a really big online canvas where I can both plan the project and organize my brain dumps. Oh, like this thought-provoking idea.
The Balenciaga logo, but it's barely a logo. Like, this is barely clothing, so the logo is just a tumbling plastic bag. Or the logo is just a black bar that takes up the same amount of space as the word Balenciaga. If you know, you know.
To yesify the Balenciaga logo, I first wanted to understand the Balenciaga brand. As you can see with all of these boards for virtually all parts, I modified one of their 100 built-in templates. I know that template button hates to see me coming. For example, this mood board, I sectioned it into what does Balenciaga sells and what are their more editorial pieces. You can lay it out in a way that makes sense to you. The user interface is very intuitive, whether you're adding images, videos, captions, notes, or even sketches. It's very adaptable to your organizational needs, whether you're doing a dissertation, maybe you're writing, maybe you're doing commercial design work. I see you. Whether you're more like sort of visual planner like me, or you just want a space to like put your brainstorms, for each according to his ability, to each according to his need. When I was thinking about what do we want this logo to look like, the main idea was to communicate the avant Gah. In this mood board, this part was around mixed type, something a little bit edgier but also futuristic. Or like, what if we use iconography? Because you don't really see that in luxury fashion. I like Milanote because it's really easy to group ideas into a cluster. It's like an interactive Pinterest board that you can like nest within itself. And if you're overthinking your work like me, or you need feedback because you're doing a group project, you can invite your team onto your board to collaborate in real time. Here's an example. I'm something of a lone wolf designer myself, so this is me pretending to be my own boss, giving feedback to myself. But this could be your friend or like your boss or something. And in this economy, Milano is my favorite four-letter word. Free. Your girl's trying to hook you up with a useful tool, so you can sign up for FREE free using the link in the description or in the pinned comment, and please let me know how you find it. Initially, I really wanted to play with physical texture using the dotted pattern on my microwave and the tape as a reference to the really cheap Balenciaga hoodie and also the tape bracelet. But then I ran out of tape. We went with the mixed font style. One, I chose a pixelated font as a nod to old tech, but also kind of looks futuristic at the same time. There was another font which keeps with that tape theme because I just really like tape. I also left some of the letters to keep it grounded in its original Balenciaga design. Another genius thought I had was, if Balenciaga equals modern fashion plus art, what is art? Tate. Not Andrew, the other Tate. What if Balenciaga plus Tate modern logo? Okay, I do feel like I was severely limited by my I don't make logos making skills. But you just gotta imagine the vision on this one, right? Anyway, the point is, subtle textures or even like logo quirks and customized fonts are some ways where you can break the mold of this flat logo style. And talking about breaking flat logo style, I feel like 3D and motion is a space where we can really see a lot of creativity. I really love this logo for this radio technology company. It's really, really good. What that says is the company is both innovative, but they also have a static logo for when you need static logos, which is most of the time. Putting on the idea of motion, I thought maybe Balenciaga could have like tech glitches, like constant reinvention. Is it practical? Does it look like luxury? Maybe not, but I could also argue for Balenciaga. Is this tape bracelet also, does that scream luxury to you? Fashion, especially high fashion, I feel like they have more scope to play with artistic expression. Maybe it's a shift on how showing extensive expressions of your wealth might be slightly outdated and off-putting in our global economy. So maybe generic looking is in. What would I know? I'm not their target customer. I don't have money. eBay. eBay is an auction house marketplace, but I commonly know it as a scam. It hasn't been updated since 2012, and I feel like it could really use a little bit of rejuvenation. Retinol. This is what the previous logo used to look like, and I feel like it really encapsulated the diversity of its products and really the language of its time. Because I remember when people like me used to type like this. It was really a widespread disease. The previous logo had a bit more fun, vibrancy, buoyancy. It was a little bit more juvenile and eclectic because it was really like, how do you represent a site that sells anything from laptops to Among Us chicken nugget? And then eBay grew up, as is the story arc for a lot of these tech companies. Maybe the prefrontal cortex solidified a bit in between these years. You'll notice the logo is still connected together, like the beautiful community that fosters the site. Now the current font adopts this sort of Swiss design style. It's minimal, readable, scalable, all the words that logo designers really love. It is more modern and mature for its time, but I mean, personally, I still think of eBay as a scam, and I kind of feel like the website is a bit more boring. I feel like when you have AliExpress that's kind of outdoing you on the design front, we have a bit of a problem. What I feel like will make brands really stand out is a human, personable touch. The branding of a website and its logo is all about emotion. Think hand-drawn elements, like hand-drawn typography. If we're talking about emotion, what sort of emotions and words do I associate with eBay? Stuff like, I'm going to get ripped off, scam, why can't they just ship it to me, old, boring, I have better luck on Facebook Marketplace. But what do we want people to think about when they think about eBay? Maybe words like it's not a scam. You're not gonna get ripped off. It's an exchange, right? It's community. It's people driven. It's actually quite lively, right? We need to do something about eBay's brand perception to get eBay to be a little bit more trustworthy. And what's more trustworthy than a smile? My most creative self comes from a state of play, and I wanted to see how can we have this community-driven aspect. I thought maybe the Y and the E are like holding hands. Maybe the A could be like a basket, but I personally feel like the whole basket equals e-commerce thing is a bit overdone. And what if eBay had its own mascot? I'm not gonna lie, my inspiration for this was like when I was a kid and people used to write the word boy and turn it into an actual boy. I just really love cute mascots and symbols. Like, look at Crocs. Look at this cute little guy. I love how Mailchimp has Freddy, and they paired it with this like warm, chunky, more playful font, and they paired it with these like hand-drawn illustrations, which they said it's about realistic expression, and it nods to Mailchimp's support for businesses looking to build their brands by maintaining their unique voices in the world. And I do believe it helps them maintain their unique brand identity in like the tech space. I'll also never forgive that 1x1 Lego brick for poaching her. Okay, so I was really tempted to pick this one, which I feel like had a little bit more texture and interest for eBay. And whilst I do want it to feel a bit more human and people driven, I feel like a cleaner look suits eBay a little bit more. And we ended up with this one, which I feel like, you know, you could have your own mascot with a whole bunch of different characters. You can put them in different places to enhance the user experience. Uh-oh, sorry, your delivery didn't arrive. Do you want to talk to our AI chatbot? I don't think sans serif minimalism is ever going to go away, because there's always a time and place for it. And when it's done well, it can look really crisp and beautiful and elegant. But I do believe logos will get a little bit braver. They'll get chunker, rounder, friendlier. Like vintage logos, we might see more experimentation with typeface and color. Food brands are one of the spaces where they tend to have a bit more bravery in experimenting. You can have this sort of, we are fresh, homemade, quirky identity. For example, think about Oatly. Oatly has this natural, homey design that transcends just brand, and it becomes a statement on sustainability. Like, look at this guy. Doesn't it scream, hey man, I'm so cute. We're not a scam site. The font I used was Habero Soft. I'm hoping you'll have like a psychological effect, because now when you associate yourself with eBay, you'll think about, oh, fun, cute, quirky happiness, instead of the contempt that you usually feel when you're on the website. Like, oh, like eBay is a little bit cross-eyed, but it's okay. Personally, I feel like the world is yearning for Comic Sans, but I feel like that's another video. I did struggle quite a lot with font customization. I wanted the font to have the same roundness as, you know, eBay, you know, Gestalt's principle of similarity in that. Color-wise, I'm not a fan of eBay's original colors. I wanted it to lean a bit more Bauhaus. Not gonna lie, it was looking like a site where I learned my ABCs. Perhaps. Does it appeal to every type of user? And maybe not. Does it look better? Questionable. Does it look more juvenile? Yes. Does it look more professional, at least? Probably not. But does it have more personality? Yes. Logos don't just exist by themselves. They exist in the context of their overall branding, right? Maybe these companies get big enough where they feel like, okay, differentiation in logo particularly is not as important anymore as is, like, let's say, their digital presence. If their brand name is a household name. But I'd say, like, yeah, but like Nike without its iconic swoosh would just be a bit crap. And I feel like it's still a space to appeal to emotional design in various ways. I feel like we might see more of a throwback to nostalgic times. I like, remember when Gap tried to rebrand, but then they got bullied because they just looked like your local IT services company instead of, you know, fashion brand Gap. The world is increasingly risk averse and revenue growth motivated, but with brands like Burberry giving a nod to its legacy logos, or the mountain in Mountain Dew coming back. Maybe brands will grow a backbone and a serif. Are we about to be so back yet simultaneously go forward?